There comes a point in life when you get tired of trying to manage everything around you. You stop wrestling with outcomes, people, and situations that refuse to cooperate. And in that quiet moment, something important clicks. You realize the only thing you ever truly needed to control was yourself. Most of our suffering isn't loud or dramatic. It's subtle. It lives in the thoughts we replay over and over, the fears we stretch bigger than they need to be, the futures we try to map out before they even arrive. We convince ourselves that worrying is useful, that fear is some kind of preparation. But more often than not, it doesn't protect us at all. It just keeps us frozen in place. Stoicism offers a different way forward. It teaches the strength of stillness. It shows us that life doesn't improve when we tighten our grip, but when we loosen it. Today, I want to walk you through 5 Stoic truths that begin to change your life the moment you stop worrying. They're simple, but not easy. Emotional, yet grounding. Almost cinematic in feeling, but deeply practical. And if you really let them sink in, they can change the way you wake up tomorrow morning. The first truth is this: you can't control the world, but you can always control your response. Epictetus put it plainly when he said, "We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them." Let that settle for a moment. It's not the event itself that breaks you. It's the meaning you assign to it. Worry is the mind's attempt to control what was never meant to be controlled. The Stoics understood something powerful here. Peace begins the moment you accept this. The world will move on with or without your approval, but your inner world only moves with your permission. When something goes wrong, and it will, you're faced with a choice. You can react from fear, or you can respond from clarity. Clarity doesn't come from guessing what might happen next. It comes from anchoring yourself right here, in the present. When you stop obsessing over what if, you finally become strong enough to face what is. And when that happens, life stops feeling like a constant threat and starts feeling like a challenge you're actually equipped to handle. The second truth is just as important. What you fear is often weaker than you think, and what you avoid only grows stronger. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality," and he was right. Most of your fear lives in your head, not in the real world. Most of the pain you feel hasn't even happened. It's a prediction, a projection, a story your mind keeps telling you on repeat. Worry tricks you into thinking you're being cautious, when in reality you're feeding the very thing you're trying to escape. Think back for a moment. How many times did a situation turn out gentler than you expected? How many problems felt overwhelming, right up until you faced them? It's rarely the thing itself that breaks us. It's the waiting, the imagining, the mental torture of replaying the worst-case scenario over and over. The moment you stop worrying and take a step forward anyway, fear begins to shrink. Your courage grows. Life feels lighter, not because everything suddenly becomes easy, but because you become stronger than the weight you're carrying. The third truth is this: peace is not something given to you. Peace is something you build inside yourself. Marcus Aurelius said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Yet most of us spend years searching for peace in places that were never designed to give it to us. We look for it in relationships, in achievements, in financial security, in the approval of people who don't truly know us. Stoicism points us in another direction. Peace isn't out there waiting to be found. It's something you cultivate within. You build it through discipline, through healthy boundaries, through emotional maturity, through knowing when to speak, and when silence is actually the stronger language. The moment you stop waiting for the world to settle down and instead begin calming yourself, something shifts. Life doesn't suddenly become quiet or easy. The storms don't disappear. But you realize something deeply empowering. You were the shelter all along. And once you see that, everything feels less chaotic, not because life changed, but because you did. The fourth truth is this: acceptance is not weakness. It's the beginning of real control. Many people misunderstand acceptance. They hear the word and think it means giving up, rolling over, or letting life push them around. But that's not what the Stoics meant at all. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Acceptance doesn't mean you stop trying. It means you stop exhausting yourself by fighting reality. You don't have to like what happened. You don't have to approve of it or pretend it didn't hurt. But you do have to accept that it happened, because only then can you move forward. When you stop worrying about the past, stop replaying who hurt you, what failed, or where things went wrong, you free your mind to focus on what truly matters. The next step, the next decision, the next version of yourself. Worry keeps you tied to what you can't change. Acceptance loosens that grip, and frees you to build what you still can. The fifth truth is this: letting go is not losing. Letting go is choosing your own peace. We hold on far longer than we should, to people, to old stories, to identities we've outgrown, to expectations of how life was supposed to turn out. Epictetus offered a tough but freeing reminder when he said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In simpler terms, be willing to release what pulls you away from peace, even if others don't understand it. Letting go is one of the hardest things we ever do. It can feel like failure, like defeat, but more often than not, it's the moment life finally creates room for something new. When you let go of the past, you make space for the future. When you let go of bitterness, you make space for clarity. When you let go of who someone was, you make space for who you can become. Worry keeps you chained to what you're afraid of losing. Letting go frees you to grow into someone you're proud to live with. And slowly, quietly, things begin to fall into place. Not because the universe suddenly takes your side, but because you're no longer fighting it. So take a slow breath. Hold it for just a moment. Then let it go. Notice the quiet that settles in. Right now, nothing is pulling at you. Nothing is demanding your energy. The fears you carried all day aren't here in this moment. And that small sense of calm you feel, it matters, because it reminds you of something important. Peace isn't something you chase, it's something you build within yourself. If you can feel it now, even faintly, you can return to it whenever life feels heavy. You don't need to control tomorrow. You don't need perfect answers. You just need to come back to yourself, to your breath, to the strength that's carried you through every storm so far. You've already endured more than your worry will ever admit. You are steadier than your thoughts, stronger than your fear, and far more capable than you give yourself credit for. And if these words made you feel even a little lighter, a little more understood, then stay. There's more calm here, more clarity, more strength to return to when you need it. Subscribe for the version of you that finally knows peace isn't just possible, it's already within reach.